Good morning, it's Pastor Marty from the Afternoon Drive. It's Friday, and on Fridays on my radio show, we don't do any politics or pop culture. I figure by Friday afternoon when my show airs live at 5 p.m., most people by then are on what I call information overload, and, they've just been dealing with politics and stuff all week long. So on Friday, we do something kind of fun, kind of neat. It's a throwback to 1960s Top 40 radio, and so we play a lot of Top 40 Billboard hits, local radio chart hits, and today it's an all-request program, but it's all 1960s rock, and we have a lot of fun. We throw some other extra little sound bites in there, vintage commercials from the 60s, liners from movies from the 60s. It's just a lot of fun, and that's what it's meant to be. We call it the Friday Flashback. We don't deal with any politics on Friday afternoons on the air. And then we hit it hard again on Monday. But of course, the video channel, we're hitting politics every single day. So just wanted to give you that heads up if you are new to watching me here and you've started to listen online. Our show is live stream 12:05 and 5:05 Monday through Thursday. AM 840 WPGS is the actual flagship station in Central Florida, broadcasting over Orlando, Daytona Beach, and the Titusville areas, which is the Space Coast. And then you can hear us anywhere that you've got internet, Wi-Fi, or data. Local840.com. That's Monday through Thursday, 12:05 and 5:05 on AM 840 WPGS. Now, let me just say, today we've got, it's just getting really interesting with these so-called Democratic hopefuls running. Let's begin with Robert Francis O'Rourke. Now, you know him as Beto, because he wants to go for the whole Latin American thing, okay. But, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, so I think I should call him by his Christian birth-given name, Robert Francis O'Rourke. Well, Bobby officially announced yesterday he's in. He's in. Apparently, the clown car that is filled with those that want to challenge Donald Trump, they can squeeze somebody else in, but they're still saving a seat for Joe Biden. So, Beto is in. And Beto, of course, he's kind of an off-the-rails kind of guy. Now, you would have thought that if he had been reasonably intelligent, that about a month ago, when Donald Trump staged that big rally down at the Texas border, and literally right next door, Beto was going to hold a counter rally. And he looked like he was in the parking lot of a Walmart with about, it was less than 100 people. And then right next door, there's Donald Trump with about 20,000 people. And there were times that the Beto event had to stop because the roars and the cheers from inside the Trump event were drowning out what they were doing outside in the parking lot. That is not a great visual. Having been not only in ministry, but also in media, I do understand something about production and the visual aspect, or as Barachmus Obadamus, POTUS 44 like to say, the optics. You look very small when you come up against the president and your crowd's got 20 people and he's got 20,000. That visual just didn't work, but he's a glutton for punishment apparently. He's in. The president immediately went after him like, is he crazy? Why is all of us these wild hand gestures? What's really scary about Beto is he made a failed run for the Senate. But apparently in the Democratic Party, that's cool. That qualifies you now to run for the presidency. And many in the media, he's the guy they want. But the people don't seem to be responding. Again, there he was in Iowa. Where was he? A bar, a restaurant, a diner. And, this is where he's making his big coming out speech that I want to be your president. And he's standing on a table. And occasionally he's having to look under light fixtures. And it's like, does he have anybody on staff that's not on crack, that knows what they're doing and how to set these things up, that, might actually make this guy look like He knows something, even though once he opens his mouth, we know he doesn't, but at least they could kind of get the optics a little bit right. So you got that going on with Beto, and he's one just like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, this bit that climate change is the new World War II. He said that those who are advocating policies for climate change to save the planet, they're like the soldiers that stormed the beaches at Normandy. What? I really get annoyed, more than annoyed, with, first of all, revisionist history. My daughter is home from college on spring break, and one of her friends, who's still a senior in high school but taking some classes locally in our university here in town, really believes that the real reason we broke away from England to be an independent nation was we wanted to keep our slaves. What? This is what she's being taught in the classroom, and this is a bright young girl. She's like another member of the family. She's been on family vacations with us, is at our house just about anytime my daughter's in town. We can just expect her friend to be here, and that's great. My wife and I love her. She's a great kid. But I was just stunned to realize this is what she's being taught, and she's believing it. So I'll have to sit down and have a little history lesson with her sometime in the near future. That said, this trashing of our history, where you now have Ilhan Omar that the Democrats couldn't even muster up enough courage to actually give a real censure to, is being defended by the Democrats by saying, well, her insensitive comments about Jews, the Holocaust was a long time ago. Yeah. There's really nobody alive that has any real first-hand connection to the Holocaust anymore. So now we just get dismissive of the Holocaust as if it didn't happen, and because she's from Somalia, this trumps it. And I would love to know why some of the very rich and powerful and influential within Hollywood that love to throw themselves into liberal causes and fund liberals and Democrats, why they haven't said anything. I'm looking at you, Mr. Spielberg. Let's see, the movie Schindler's List, that you felt compelled to tell so that no one ever forgets what happened. Come on, Stephen. You're a liberal. You've hosted events for Democratic candidates. We know where your loyalties lie and who you'll vote for in 2020. You didn't have the guts to come out and challenge Ilhan Omar about her warped thinking and to really kind of light a fire under the rest of the Democratic Party to say she needs to be censured. Nope. Silent. And now, where are the Democrats to stand up and say, listen, we get it. You guys are really into climate change. We get it. You really think the planet is in peril. Okay. But stop making comparisons to World War II. You know what this is driven by? We have a generation today of snowflakes. We have a generation today that isn't really all that active or engaged themselves physically into anything. So, their sport was sitting down and doing this in front of a screen. And a lot of the games that are out there they're World War II type games. They're fantasy games. There's even a game now where you can watch actual battles of World War II and you hear running sports commentary as if this was a sporting event that you were watching on ESPN. What? To take the sacrifice of the young men that literally rid the world of tyranny at that time. I've often said, though, if we ever had a serious, huge crises which we needed to rally the young people of today, I don't know that we could pull it off. Remember, the generation that won World War II, which Tom Brokaw correctly described as the greatest generation, they had lived through the Depression. See, I'm a big believer, here we go, he's going to bring some Bible into this, that God orchestrates the events that we live through. We call it life, which eventually becomes history. And I am sure there were people at the time, especially Christians, wondering, why are we having to go through this depression? Why doesn't God do something? Why are we having to endure this? It was that depression that those kids of the depression who became teenagers and young adults in the 40s had the grit and the resolve to be able to go across an ocean and defeat not one, not two, but three world dictators: Germany, Italy, Japan. Do we have a generation today that could do that? A generation today that probably went bat-crap crazy and fell apart because Facebook was down for 24 hours the other day? So here's Beto now talking about people that are fighting for climate change. They're like the soldiers that stormed the beaches at Normandy. And this whole over the top, we're going to all be dead in 12 years. See, I have to tell you then, if that's your sales pitch, then I'm just going to buy a couple more cars, just inadvertently when I feel like it, start them and let them run in my driveway and release more toxin into the air, because hey, we've only got 12 years left. Live it up. No, I'm not going to do that. Then we have Kirsten Gillibrand. Now, she's an interesting individual. She comes from upstate New York, which is where I am originally from, and I am a product of New York, which I used to affectionately refer to as the People's Republic of New York. Come, visit, stay, pay taxes. I grew up under Mario Cuomo. Thank God I have not had to live there under his son. I lived through the Pataki years, but at least Pataki got the state somewhat, fiscally straightened out. It's all, gone to hell in a handbasket since he left. But I look at Kirsten Gillibrand, who took Hillary Rodham Clinton's seat in the Senate, and when she initially ran, she ran as a, if you will, Democratic conservative. She had the endorsement of the NRA, upstate New York. It is gun country. And by the way, it is MAGA country. There's just not enough votes up there to offset New York City. I can remember as a kid, my dad really advocating and wanting badly New York City to be annexed off of New York, kind of like Washington, D.C., and let it be its own little entity and let it vote its way, and let the rest of New York, which always votes conservative, Republican, other than Buffalo, but even this time Buffalo went for Trump, let the rest of the state vote, and, that's not going to happen. So Kirsten Gillibrand has made a steady, conscious, leftward march, came out strong against Bill Clinton when she was, first, letting us know she would be running, and, Me Too, and Bill should have been removed from office. Then we find out she's got people on her staff doing things with females. No. That's Me Too stuff. Now we find out that she had an event about, a month ago in California, hosted by Jane Buckingham. Jane Buckingham is now one of those wealthy parents who's been indicted for scamming and scheming and cheating to get her son into the University of Southern California. Apparently paid $50,000 so that he could go there. Now, to the kid's credit, he actually tweeted out or released a statement. I'm not sure how it got out there, but the media's running with this. Number one, he didn't know that his mom did that, and number two, he feels really bad that he knows that there are rich kids and not rich kids who work their rear ends off to really earn the right grades to be there, who are not there because kids like him somehow got a special break or privilege that they didn't earn or deserve to be there. Shazam, Batman. I mean, you have Lori Loughlin, Aunt Becky from Too Close for Comfort. She's lost her gig with the Hallmark Channel. I knew that was coming. One of her daughters, who's supposedly a big internet sensation, she had a sponsorship with a makeup line, and that's what she was really doing online. That and, gossip and, teen stuff. They've dropped her. I think these institutions ought to start dropping these kids. Maybe it wasn't their fault. Maybe they didn't know. But they're obviously got there through, here we go, illegal college immigration. And isn't it something how even liberals in Hollywood who are not part of scamming and scheming to get their kids illegally into college, how upset they are about this. And they're tweeting about it, and they're talking about it, and they're blasting their fellow Hollywood elites over it. Why, this is cheating, this is illegal, this is cheating to get into college, cheating to cross the border illegally, suck the system dry of our resources when we've got people here in our own country that could benefit from some of those resources that they can't have because we're giving it away to illegals. That the liberals don't seem to care about, and they're for. But a lot of it is just, it's their own vanity and jealousy. Your kid got into Stanford and mine didn't. Why, you no good. So that's your update for Friday. Make sure if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please do so, then hit the bell so you get a notification of my next rant, and we'll catch you next time.